Welcome to our community, friends. I am thrilled that you have found your way here. And in between all the shit that life throws your way, you have shown up to do something for you. You know, the content that you listen to, it is so powerful. I was just talking to a friend last week, and he was sharing with me that he would listen to DMX on the way into work, and he never realized how aggressive he was coming off to his colleagues until someone said something to him. He stopped listening to DMX and engaged with his colleagues, with his clients entirely different. That is just one example, my friend, of how what you listen to, what you surround yourself with, it matters. The shout out this week goes to vulnerability. Mm. You know, we hashtag all around that shit in our world, don't we? Hashtag vulnerability is strength. And it is, but it is difficult and it is hard. And before you can be vulnerable with the outside world, you have to be vulnerable with you first. And that doesn't get enough airtime. The difficulty and the courage to do it. You know, I held 2 workshops last week, and watching the crew, the audience at the beginning of the workshops versus the end of the workshops, has made me think time and time again, when you have the courage to put down your mask and be vulnerable, the permission slip that you write people in your life, unbeknownst to you, to also put down their own mask is such a beautiful gift. I would love to invite you, my friend, if you have not already, to check out our TEDx talk. I say our because you and I are in this movement together. Please share it with your tribe. It is a beautiful way to write each other the permission slip to be vulnerable. And it's called Detoxing Off the Drug of Achievement. I am linking it below in the show notes, and I would love to invite you. Pop in the earbuds, listen to it for 15 minutes. Again, the content you surround yourself with matters. So whether you listen to it in the bathroom, getting ready in the morning, that's where I love to listen to podcasts and start my morning with content that fuels me versus depletes me. It's a game changer. You can listen to it in the car, on a walk with your dog. It is my hope that it gives you the courage to be vulnerable with yourself. To any of our new tribe members, it is my hope that this content found you through a friend, through a trusted advisor, or that it showed up and you found your way here. My name is Megan Miller. I'm an intentional living expert that has fought her own addictions to achieving, to validation from the outside world, that exhaustion is a status symbol. And what I had to realize that the core denominator of all these decisions that I was making, this anxiety, this exhaustion, this fear, this guilt, was me. And if I had to change if I wanted to change any area in my life, I had to change me first. And it started this 7-year journey on getting to know myself and the power of these micro steps so that you and I can stop living on autopilot. You can stop leading your life the way the outside world has bullhorned in your ear your entire life to on what you want to do, to be, achieve, hitting all these check marks and feeling unfulfilled. And instead, start living a life that you were meant to, because my friend, it's not a unicorn, it's not an urban myth. You can have a life that you don't need a vacation one you actually want to be a part of. And that starts with you. Welcome to putting attention to intention. My beautiful friends, you had the most soul quenching weekend. Soul quenching. And I didn't even realize how bad I needed it and what a gift that is. People that are food for the soul. How refreshing is that? Don't you love those people? Those friends, those tribe members that you hang out with, and it's just easy. And on the other end of it, you feel so nourished and like it's soul food. You know, I read this quote today from Viola Davis. If you are not following her on Instagram, do yourself a solid and follow her. Not only do I love her book, if you're a book reader, read Finding Me. Oof. Even though, you know, here's what's so interesting. While Viola Davis and I have had very different life paths, there's so much similarity. in the words that I have been reading, that she's written about her own journey. And so, my friend, we are all so much more alike than we are different. And I love her words, and I love her energy, and I love what she posts on Instagram. It's every time it feels like just a soul church filled moment. And she had talked about being around people who talk about their dreams, who talk about passion, who talk about these exciting things that they want for their life, and not people and not gossip. And we had that this weekend with dear friends Tammy and Rico and Michael and I, the two couples together. And it was just amazing. And I feel so just happy, happy. And it's my hope, my friend, that you have those people in your life. And here's to making time for them. You know, so I did 2 workshops this past week, and so many lessons learned in these rooms. But there was this one comment from a dear friend of mine in one of these rooms, Jenny Garrity. Shout out to you, girl, for having enough courage to raise your hand and share this in a room of your colleagues, because don't we all think things every damn day, but we talk ourselves out of them? So she had mentioned in this room with her colleagues about responding to business texts before friends and family texts, and how she beats herself up about that, and how she really wants to get more intentional to giving these texts and the time to her friends and family that she does to business texts. And as she said that, I thought, shit, I am guilty. My friends, I have right now about 14 text messages, all of them from friends and family, all of them that I keep thinking I want to respond to, but putting the business and the calls and the things ahead of it. And it just makes me think about how the happiest people, it's been proven study after study, and I feel it. I'm telling you, I feel it right now as you and I are spending time here together today, that the happiest people, the most fulfilled people, have the strongest friendships. And isn't that the first that goes when we're busy? Guilty. So I say, let's all follow her lead, and let's set intention around around responding to friends and family with the same urgency that we do to the way we handle ourselves in business. That's a church service moment. Thank you, Jenny, for sharing that. I heard Lori Clark not followed her. She is her work is all around self reinvention and helping others make changes in their life, and she's brilliant. And she said something that stuck with me. When someone asks you questions over and over and over again, write a blog, do podcast episode around it, do the world a favor and share it with the masses, because there is a strong likelihood that not just one person needs to hear it. And over the past few weeks, this has come up time and time again on, where did I start? How did I find the courage to build this movement? How did I transition from my corporate career to this movement? And what did that look like? And as I thought about that more, I thought, I don't think I've ever really taken the time to share with you, my friend, what this journey has been. And it has been a journey, my friends. And that's what I want to take you on. During our time together this week, I want to unpack this with you. And it's my hope, it's my intention that it gives you the courage to begin to take action on your pipe dream. Because here's what I want you to know. And this is coming from the girl that never thought that any of this is possible. That thing that feels like it'll never happen, that you only allow yourself to touch in the silence of your own mind, you don't even have enough courage to share with other people. It's within your reach. It's within your reach. And you know who can help you get there? It's you. It's you. And it's starting. And that is the hardest part. Once you start, my friend, the building blocks will begin to emerge. For years, I had this inner gut whisper. Years. I didn't even share this with anyone, because I was too damn scared to. I knew that I was meant for more in my career. I think we can all write that same memoir at some point, but it's terrifying. You don't know where to start. And if you're like me, I will raise my hand. Hell, I would raise both if I could right now. The job gave me not only the financial stability, but I was damn good at it. And I was doing it for 15 years. And that identity, I've been sharing that with a lot of friends the past few weeks. I did not realize how much it was going to fuck with me to leave this identity that I had for 15 years and start anew. It's hard. But here's what I want you to know. It is so damn worth it. So damn worth it. Curiosity. Curiosity was my biggest gift. It was my biggest gift. And actually, let me backtrack. I want to go way back here for 1 second. This is what worked for me. This is my journey. I want you to take what feels right to you, and I want you to leave behind the rest, because no one can write your playbook for what works for you but you. Okay? That needs to be on every single fluff billboard everywhere, because I feel in our world where we are cramming down your throat these things. Here's what I want you to know. The only person that can tell you what's right for you is you. Okay? So curiosity was my biggest gift. I started, and this was unbeknownst to me. This was not intentional. This just started to happen. I started scheduling coffee with people that I admired with an objective that was simple. I wanted to hear their story. I wanted to hear how they got where they were. And I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. I had lunch with Doreen Burse. She was an executive with Marriott. She's had a long-standing career in hospitality, has made many waves in the industry, is very vocal on supporting women in business, and is a damn powerhouse. Powerhouse. Ask her to, I was in Chicago, asked her to meet me for coffee. She did. And she said to me in that meeting, "You're not thinking big enough." And it wasn't until earlier this year, almost 4 years later, that I really got it, that I really got what she was saying. That is key number one. Who you surround yourself with matters. It matters. If you are not inspired by the people you surround yourself with, you're in the wrong room. You are in the wrong room. This is where I want you to start. I want you to send the note to the people that inspire you. I want you to send the note to the person that you think, God, I love their job, or I admire their courage. And I want you to ask them to have a conversation with you. Share their story and their lessons learned, because someone can teach you in 15 minutes what it took them 15 years to learn. Don't do it once and think, oh, they didn't respond, I'm not doing it again. Not everyone will say yes, but you don't know until you put the ask out there. So do it time and time again. Who you surround yourself with matters. Another woman that I reached out to who became such a catalyst in my journey, and I didn't even realize it. We've had her on this show before. I've shared how we connected. Nancy Medoff. You need to follow her online if you're not. She does confidence. She does career coaching. A really badass human. And she gave me such a gift. Such a gift. I reached out to her. I saw some of these workshops that she had done. And as I read the description of the content and who she was, I thought, damn, I just felt this visceral connection, this gut instinct, this gymnast in my belly that I had to get to know her. I reached out to her. I said, I want you to mentor me. I want to hear about your journey. Again, because my objective was just to hear these people's stories, how they got where they were, what lessons did they learn. And she said, I'm not really mentoring anyone. And I was bound and determined. I knew she would be incremental in my life. And I did not know how it would come into play. But it was such a beautiful time where she helped me really get enough courage to continue to see what I could not. And I wasn't thinking big enough. And she gave me this workbook that she was doing in her own business. I had no idea how much it would define where this movement would take me. And it asked two powerful questions that I still come back to this day, that I think, God, that was such a powerful moment and where I was headed, and I had absolutely no fluffing idea. Here's question number one. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to imagine the world as at its worst. Imagine the world at its worst. What are the biggest tragedies? What gets you fired up? That's question number one. Would love for you to pause this episode. I would love for you to close your eyes, and I would love for you to write this down. If you're juggling a lot of shit right now, which you most likely are, then I want you to ask yourself this tomorrow morning as soon as you get up. It's amazing what comes to you when you sleep on it. Remember as a kid how the elders would say, sleep on it? I remember my grandmother used to say that all the time. Sleep on it. It will come to you in the morning. And by God, they knew what the hell they were talking about. Because anytime I struggle with anything, that's exactly what I do. I sleep on it, and it's amazing what comes to you in the morning. So I would love for you to ask yourself these two questions. Question number one, imagine the world at its worst. What are the biggest tragedies? What gets you fired up? And then question number two, close your eyes and imagine the world in a perfect state. What would that look like? What's the first images that pop up in your mind? What does that environment look like? And I want you to write it down. Write it down, my friend, because you, with these two questions, you just found your why. You just found your why. And we can spend our whole life looking for that. That's 80% of the struggle, finding out your why. That leads me to key number two. You don't need to have a full business plan. People will tell you all sorts of shit online, right? But here's what I want you to know. It'll come organically once you have your why. Once you have your why. I was sitting with Michael. We were engaged at the time. This was before we got married. We were in Hawaii. Isn't it amazing what comes to you when you're on vacation, when you're away from the screen and the pings and the dings and the everyday life? And I remember, I'll never forget it. I knew in my gut that this trip to Hawaii was going to be spiritual and was going to help me navigate through my journey, but I had no idea how it would be. And I remember leaving that vacation because I think we're also busy looking for these big moments, right? I remember getting back on the plane after that trip and thinking, well, didn't happen. Didn't happen. Well, I had was looking for this big nugget that I did not even realize the gift that I had during that trip. And it was this. I was sitting across from Michael at dinner. I was sharing with him all of these things that I was teaching myself on this self-talk, on how it was changing how I was showing up at the boardroom and at home, and how I would love to help others that are struggling just as much as I am and was, because I didn't feel that there was a platform to talk about this enough, and how bad and how desperately I needed it. And it really felt like there was a crumpled up piece of paper in my head. I knew in my gut that there was something here, but I had no idea what it looked like. I had no idea how I would get it out. And I'll never forget, he looked at me and said, why don't you start a podcast? And I thought to myself, oh, hell yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I came back after that trip. This was over 2 years ago. I came back after that trip. I called a girlfriend who had a podcast. I asked her what she did, and she said, Meg, it is a hell of a lot simpler than what you think it is. I'm going to get you hooked up with this site. This is the site that I use, that you upload your content on. You have Zoom. You already got that checked out. Here's the microphone I use. Boom, you're off to the races. And I just started recording. Was it perfect? No. Can I go back and read and listen to those episodes? No, but I started. And it slowly morphed into speaking engagements where people that I had known over my 15-year corporate career had said, Meg, can you come speak to our sales team? Our people are burnt out. These little intentional micro steps that you're talking about will be so powerful in not only connecting our team, but changing how they show up in the conversations they have with themselves. Then it slowly began to build out into more of these workshops. Hey, Meg, come back next quarter. Hey, Meg, there was such an interest in what you talked about. Can you do a micro step challenge with us? Hey, Meg, can you come and help us with some continuity programming? Which slowly began to build out into more of these consulting pieces. And this is what I want you to know. I want you to take action. Build your brand with the platform that you have now, whether that's LinkedIn, whether that's Instagram, whether that's starting a podcast or blog. Post what ties into your why, Because with those last two questions of envisioning a world at its worst and envisioning a world at its best, there you are finding out your why. And just post what feels right to you. Who gives a fuck about the likes? I want you to just start. Because people had told me this all along and I did not believe it because I am so stubborn. It will morph and people will tell you what they want and what they are attached to. And you will begin to socially listen and become aware, and it'll change and it'll morph. But you need to start, and it just needs to feel right to you. So, whether that's a podcast, whether that's a blog, whether that's LinkedIn, whether that's Instagram, whether that's YouTube videos, whatever feels right to you, you just start. You just start. And here's the thing, I also want to give this some airtime. I did not just pick up and quit my job. I didn't have this breakdown on 76, the 7-year journey to getting to know myself, this moment in Hawaii with my husband, and came back and be like, oh, that's it. Well, see, I'm quitting my job. Nah, it's a long fuffin' haul, my friend. It's a long haul. You hear it, and it's so true. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. It took me 7 years to figure out who I was outside of the job. I think that's the most damn difficult thing, figuring out what you want. And then another 2 years or so, I was still working at my corporate job. And I was building this out on nights, on weekends. You will need to eat the shit sandwich. You will. And it will take time. It will take time. And there's no way to get around that. Sara Blakely, who I love. Can we just go to the Church of Sara Blakely, this beautiful woman who, if you're not familiar, she created God's gift to women, which is Spanx. It's a hosiery line. It's a $1 billion empire. She built it with $5,000 to her name, failed the LSATs twice, and was selling fax machines when she started the company. How about that? And she did the same damn thing. She was selling fax machines for 2 more years after she created Spanx. Because, listen, she had a mortgage. She had bills to pay. She didn't just pick up and quit her job. It took her 2 years of eating the shit sandwich for her to leave her corporate job. And that's key number 3. Do not quit your job until you have a nest egg. The time frame of the savings really depends on you and your lifestyle. People say 3 to 6 months of financial leeway. What feels right to you. Do not quit your job until you have a nest egg. There were so many times that I wanted to quit the full-time job. I hated it. I had started to become a little resentful towards it, and it was nothing with the job. People were great. It was me. I felt like I had moved on, and this was continuing to pull me back into something I just wanted to free myself of, but I could not, because we have a mortgage, we have household responsibilities, and you gotta eat the shit sandwich. And if I could turn back the hands of time, what I would tell myself is to use your current employer to get time with the people you want. Use your current employer to get time with the people you want and the stages that you want to speak on. Use that brand recognition, because when you come out on your own, my friend, you ain't going to have that. So use that, maximize that to start to raise your hand and get in the rooms with the people that you want and the stages that you want to speak on. Everything is figure outable. Everything is figure outable. And I would say, for me, I slowly began to transition off of the corporate job. I had a very amazing superior who supported me 100%. And I know that I'm very fortunate about that. We had a 12-year history together. And so I was very honest with her from the very beginning to say that my heart's in a different place. I don't know what this looks like. She allowed me to do consulting work, pop in when I could. So there was the financial stability of that. Now, does everyone have that? No. And I would say to you, you have to be very damn careful before you share if you want to leave an organization, because you may think they're your best friends, but business is business. But I will tell you this, everything is figure outable. Everything is figure outable. So whether that's going part-time when you can in your current career, whether that's doing some form of consulting work, everything is figure outable. And here is the number one rule that I want to tell you, that if I could turn back the hands of time 7 years ago, I would tell myself, trust yourself. Trust yourself. And don't be so damn afraid. You know what to do. And that comes in the moments of silence. Driving in silence, that's Sarah Blakely. She loves to do that. That's how she created Spanx. That's some of how my best ideas come. I love being in the car because some of my best ideas come in the silence. It also comes when I'm sitting on the back porch in my house coat, in my robe in the morning. You don't need to do it for hours. Just 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 3 minutes with a little bit of silence and your cup of coffee. It's amazing what comes to you, and it will come to you. And here's to the courage to lean into it. One micro step at a time. You don't need to recreate the wheel, my friend. All of this shit that's out there, and barely any of it is original, my stuff included. I read, I absorb content from other people, and then I see how it comes into my own life. So you don't need to recreate the wheel. Lean on those who have done it before you and take action. Here's the three keys that you are walking away from this podcast episode with in order to lean into your dreams. Key number one, who you surround yourself with matters. If you're not inspired by the people you surround yourself with, man, you are in the wrong room. You want to reach out and surround yourself with people who you admire, who excite you, who say, I want their life. Key number two, you don't have to have a full damn out-baked business plan. You don't need to have a logo, fancy logo to start. You don't need to have a website to start. But what you need to do is you need to just start. So pick one thing, whether that's starting a podcast, whether that's starting a blog, whether that's using your personal brand on LinkedIn or Instagram. Just start to share your message on one platform, and your barometer is, does it feel right to me? Okay, that's key number two. And key number three, do not quit your day job until you have a nest egg, until you feel that you financially have some sort of backing, because that'll bring you way down before you even have a chance to start. And you will not make decisions strategically. You will make them out of desperation. Use your current employer to get time with the people that you want, to get on the stages that you want, or raise your hand to build out some of these projects that you're thinking of, to get feedback. Might as well get paid to build this out, this idea. And I want you to know that everything is figure outable. God bless you, Marie Folio, for that. Everything is figure outable if you look at it through the right lens. Here's to trusting in yourself, my friend. Thank you for taking the time to be here. And most importantly, for taking the time, the first step in investing in yourself. If you feel inclined, please comment, please rate the podcast. What would mean even most to me is if you share this episode with 3 of your tribe members, people that you know that this content would elevate them, because I am a huge believer in that we show up the way that the content surrounds us. I totally jacked that up. But basically what I'm trying to say is the content you listen to matters, and I would love your help in spreading this movement within your own tribe, because I needed it for so damn long. And if this was impactful to you, please share with 3 of your tribe members. Till next time, my friend, carry on with intention.